Thank you. So thank you so much for the invitation. Should we turn down the volume a bit? It's a bit loud. First of all, I don't want to give you like boring government speech. I want to say something that can be useful to the Casper community and also folks who are interested about the Casper developments, and also more importantly, understand more about where Hong Kong is heading when it comes to the whole digital assets, crypto, Web3 developments. Now, so without further ado, let me just dissect what we are thinking in three different layers. Now, first of all, when we think about digital assets, crypto, naturally, most people, including the media, have been chasing after, how many crypto exchanges are you going to license, right? This point. Now, at the end of the day, the first layer I'd like to share with you is about what we are thinking around virtual assets. Now, the second bit I'll talk about will be about the digital assets, the broader, you probably have been hearing or reading about the RWA, the real world asset tokenization. So that's the second part I'd like to talk about. Now, the third part I'd like to talk about is the overall ecosystem and how we would like to essentially extend and deepen our level of talents in this space. So there's three layers I'd like to quickly touch on. Now, so all in all, about, let's say, 10 minutes. Now, the first thing I'd like to highlight on the virtual assets. So naturally, the center of gravity on virtual assets has been around cryptocurrency trading for quite some time. Now, but at the same time, if we ask ourselves, well, what is Hong Kong position, right, in this whole space? So naturally, it's not just about the retail trading. After all, we have a limited number of people from a retail perspective. We are much more interested to see how can we essentially foster that conducive environment so that there'll be a lot more institutional trading volume. So therefore, when we look at the market today, so looking at, for example, upcoming, there's an OTC licensing regime coming up. So in a way, we've been talking to quite a lot of institutional investors and traders and say, okay, what do you need? Okay, it could be things like the bank, that the bank has to be able to settle much faster, the custodian arrangement, the HSM versus the NPC custodian arrangements. So these are all the important steps that can make the life easier, right? So that the institutional investors have much less friction to do business in Hong Kong. We also talk to the market makers and so on. So in short, besides what you already read in the media, we're actually going much deeper. It's just that these are the things that are happening in real time, that the senior leaders in government may not openly talk about it. So that these are the things that we'd like to do. So at the end of the day, if we fast forward, say 2 years from now, then there'll be a much more, complete ecosystem for particularly the high volume institutional virtual assets investors to do business in Hong Kong. Now, as we have more AUM liquidity in Hong Kong, that naturally attracts the infrastructure players and the other supporting peripheral service and solution providers. So this is how we think about it from a virtual asset perspective. Now, I'll keep it high level. In case any one of you are interested for me to drill deeper, let me know. I'm open to have more interactive dialogue. So this is VA in general. Now, and by the way, on the VA part, another thing that we are seriously looking into is the MPC. The MPC developments. This is something that we think that has, by the way, has already becoming standard. So how are we going to transition from HSM to MPC? So this is something that we're also looking into. So that's part one. Now, part two, the broader assets. Now, virtual assets is only about 2-3 trillion US dollar market cap. It's good, it's not good enough. Because Hong Kong being an international financial center, we like to really aim at the big bogey, right? The big bonus out there. And that is the tokenization of everything. It can be securities, it can be the real world assets, the non-securities, it can be gold, intellectual properties, it can be other things. So this is where we are really putting our effort behind. Now, what does that mean? For those of you who may not be from Hong Kong or not following this very closely, you might have heard of this project called Project Ensemble. championed by our banking regulator and de facto central bank, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. Now, why is this important? It's because many of the major players, they've been on the sidelines. Major players, I'm talking about the banks, the financial institutions, the asset managers, they've been watching from a distance, looking at, JP Morgan, right? I mean, the Franklin Templeton, the BlackRock of the world, doing different experiments. So many of the FIs, because I wear three hats at Invest Hong Kong, besides fintech, I also look after financial services. So I talk to the banks, I talk to asset managers, and all these FIs people. Now, so they're anxiously looking. They're not that, I guess, confident to go all in because they're waiting for a signal from the governments and from the regulator to send to the market that this is okay, right, for the mainstream FIs to come in. Now, so that HMA project, for example, is that big okay, right? For people, look, it's okay for you guys to come in. So once the HMA guys announced it back in March this year, that attracted enormous attention. So all the major financial institutions are already in different shapes of form. Like maybe some samples, like POC projects, use cases, whatnot. There are 4 verticals that are identified. Now, green, which is another bit that we're responsible for, sustainability. So the green finance, carbon credits, right? The tokenization of carbon credits, or the RECs, renewable energy certificates. Those kind of things is one track. Another track, liquidity. And then you might have heard of BlackRock, doing all these treasuries and all that. So and then there's fixed income funds and everything. So these are all the different verticals in which HMA have been championing. Now, why is this important? It's because we don't want to look at digital assets / virtual assets as like a hobby, like a niche market. We want to get this serious money to come in to back these movements. And by that, I'm talking about old money, the mainstream finance. We're trying to get these people in, and that becomes very exciting. At the same time, those are assets, but at the same time, you have to have some native on-chain currency to pay for these assets. And this is where the stable coins come in. So I think some of you may have heard of the stable coins regime that HMA is now trying to push forward. Now, so enough said about that digital assets. Now, the third bit I want to quickly touch on is the broader ecosystem. Now, to start with, the basic infrastructure, the Web3 infrastructure, the digital asset, and so on. So that's why my colleague here, Pauline, has been working tirelessly, just asking around. So who's good in doing like real-time settlement, right? Who's good in doing MPC? Who's good in doing transaction monitoring? And so on, right? So through the hard work from my colleague Pauline and other colleagues, so we are now having a very good sense about what are the different infrastructure players, the different pieces that we need. So if it's Hong Kong, our remit is to attract foreign direct investments from international markets or mainland China and so on, and also helping along the local startup founders too. So in doing that, we are now creating a much more vibrant, I would say, infrastructure layer of players. So again, we also work hand in hand with Cyberport, the designated Web3 hub in Hong Kong. So these are the things that we're doing to try to build that foundation. Now, but that's not enough because we want to get more people, more talents of different ages to come in to work in this space. So what do? Well, we do lots of events. Now, just alone, if it's Hong Kong or Cyberport, we can't do everything. So that's why we actually, about 2 years ago, I went to Barcelona to attend SmartCon by Chainlink. And then we convinced Sergey Nazarov to bring SmartCon to Hong Kong. So SmartCon will be happening in Hong Kong this Wednesday and Thursday. It's about the work that we've done over a year and a half ago. Now, Consensus and other well-known events, you talk about us about a year, we bring them over, and we have Blocktober. So Kaspa is one of the Blocktober flagship events to help us kick off the week. So all these events are very important because this create a reason for people to come together. And specifically, I mean, for me to end with, is that we have seen some good traction in the builder space in Hong Kong. Because as we look at the Condesk study, of the top 20 blockchain universities in Hong Kong, the top 20 in the world, Hong Kong has 4 among the top 20. So we have some very good programs in Hong Kong helping to groom the younger folks. Now, but then we need some people who are more experienced to bring them along in real projects. So that's why, let's say the Casper, if you are having some projects, they can involve our youngsters. This is fabulous. I think they need that hands-on experience to apply what they learn in school. So that's why for us, we are very, very keen to work with some leading organizations like Casper to give more opportunities for the younger talents, so that we're able to have more and more talents. And all these events, by the way, are also intended for the builders to have a reason to come to Hong Kong, to experience themselves. They like to stay here. Fabulous. We have different measures to help them land and settle down in Hong Kong. So with that, I just want to sum this up with these three buckets to give you a sense about where the government is heading. It's very exciting. And I just want to, again, thanks to Anton, Maxime, and Junhe, and all your colleagues for hosting Casper in Hong Kong today. Help us kick off the week. Thanks so much.